Captain Alex Turner was a skilled pilot. He loved flying through space and exploring new worlds. One day, he was on a mission in his spaceship, the Star Explorer. Everything was going well until he saw a bright light in the sky. It was a meteor. Before he could react, the meteor struck his ship. The impact was huge, and alarms blared loudly. "Brace for impact," Alex shouted to himself. He gripped the controls tightly. The ship shook and rattled as it fell from the sky. Dust and debris filled the cockpit. Alex fought to keep the ship steady, but it was no use. The ship crashed onto the surface of a strange desert planet. When the dust settled, Alex opened his eyes. The ship lay on its side, half buried in the sand. He felt pain in his shoulder, but quickly pushed it aside. "I need to get out of here," he thought. He unbuckled himself and crawled to the exit. Outside, the sun blazed down on him. The heat was intense. Alex squinted against the bright light and surveyed the landscape. The planet was barren, covered in endless dunes of golden sand. There were no signs of life, only silence and emptiness. "Great, just great," he muttered to himself. He checked his supplies. The crash had damaged many of his tools, but he still had some food, water, and a first aid kit. He needed to find help and a way to signal for rescue. After taking a moment to collect himself, Alex decided to explore the area. He had learned in training that staying put was often dangerous, especially on an unknown planet. He grabbed a backpack, filled it with water and food, and set off into the desert. As he walked, the hot sun beat down on him. The sand shifted beneath his feet, making it hard to move quickly. He looked around, hoping to find anything that might help him. He spotted strange rock formations in the distance and decided to head towards them. "Maybe I'll find shelter or something useful there," he thought. As he walked, he felt a strange sensation, like someone was watching him. He turned, scanning the horizon, but saw nothing. Shaking off the feeling, he continued on. The rocks grew larger as he approached, towering like ancient giants in the sand. When he reached the rock formations, he noticed strange markings on the stones. They were not like anything he had seen before. "What are these?" he wondered aloud. The markings looked like symbols, and they covered the rocks. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He took out his small scanner to get more information about them. Suddenly, he heard a noise, a soft whisper, almost like a breeze. It made him stop. Alex looked around, but there was nothing in sight. The only sound was the rustling sand. He took a deep breath and decided to investigate further. The markings intrigued him, and he felt drawn to them. He moved closer to the symbols, running his fingers over the rough surface of the rock. As he studied them, he felt a strange connection. Could there have been life here? He wondered. Maybe someone will come to help me. But time was not on his side. The sun was starting to set, and the desert would soon be cold and dangerous. He needed to find a safe place to rest. Looking back at the endless dunes, he felt a sense of hopelessness creeping in. "I can't give up," he told himself. "I must survive." Just then, he noticed a glint of light in the distance, past the rock formations. It caught his eye and filled him with a sense of hope. "Maybe that's a way out," he thought excitedly. With renewed energy, he set off towards the light. As he walked, the desert air grew cooler, and the stars began to twinkle above. He felt a mix of fear and excitement. What would he find? Was there truly a way to escape this lonely planet? After a long trek, Alex finally reached the source of the light. It was a hidden oasis. Lush greenery surrounded a sparkling pool of water, a beautiful sight in the middle of the barren desert. He couldn't believe his eyes. "I've found it," he exclaimed, running towards the water. The sight was breathtaking. Tall palm trees swayed gently in the evening breeze, and the sound of water flowing was like music to his ears. Alex knelt beside the pool, cupping his hands to drink. The cool water felt refreshing and rejuvenating. For a moment, he forgot about his troubles. But then, As he looked around, he felt that strange sensation again. This time, it was stronger. He glanced towards the trees, and a figure stepped out from the shadows. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. A beautiful alien with glowing skin and bright eyes. Alex's heart raced. He had never met an alien before. What would she think of him? Would she help him, or would she be a threat? As the alien princess approached, Alex realized this was just the beginning of his adventure. He had crashed on this strange planet. But maybe, just maybe, he had also found something extraordinary. The mysterious encounter. As Alex knelt by the pool, he could hardly believe his eyes. The alien princess stepped closer, her glowing skin shimmering in the moonlight. She had long, flowing hair that sparkled like stars, and her eyes were bright and curious. Alex's heart raced. He felt both excited and scared. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice a mix of awe and caution. He wanted to reach out, but he didn't want to scare her away. The princess tilted her head, studying him. She seemed to understand his words, but didn't reply right away. After a moment, she took a step forward. "I am Princess Lyra," she said softly. Her voice was like music, soothing and calming. "What brings you to my oasis, human?" Alex blinked in surprise. She spoke his language. I crashed my ship," he stammered, trying to explain. "I'm lost and looking for help." Lyra looked at him with kindness in her eyes. "You are safe here. This oasis is protected. You can rest." Her words brought Alex a sense of relief. He had feared the worst, but her presence made him feel hopeful. "Thank you," Alex said, smiling for the first time since the crash. He rose to his feet and took a closer look at her. She was even more beautiful up close, and there was a sense of strength about her. "How did you end up here?" "I am the last of my people," she replied, sadness creeping into her voice. "My home was destroyed long ago. I have waited here, hoping for a new beginning." Alex felt a pang of empathy. She was alone, just like him, but for different reasons. "What happened to your people?" he asked gently. He wanted to understand her story. Lyra glanced at the stars, her expression distant. "We were attacked by raiders from another world. They took everything from us. I fled and found this oasis, but I have been alone ever since." Her eyes glistened with tears, but she quickly blinked them away. "I'm sorry," Alex said, feeling the weight of her loss. "You shouldn't have to be alone." He stepped closer, wanting to comfort her. Lyra looked at him, and a small smile appeared on her lips. "You are kind, human. It is rare to find such kindness." She stepped back slightly, as if unsure of how close to get. Alex sensed her hesitation. He didn't want to frighten her. "I promise I won't hurt you," he said softly. "I just want to help." For a moment, they stood in silence, the sound of water flowing around them. Then Lyra spoke again. "Would you like to see my home? I can show you the wonders of the oasis." "Absolutely," Alex replied, feeling excited. He had never seen an alien home before, and he was curious about her world. Lyra smiled and led him deeper into the oasis. The trees were lush and green, and colorful flowers bloomed everywhere. The air was fragrant, filled with sweet scents. As they walked, Lyra pointed out different plants and creatures. "This is a glimmer flower," she said, touching a bright blossom. "It glows at night to attract pollinators." "Wow, that's amazing," Alex said, genuinely impressed. He had never seen anything like it on Earth. As they explored, Lyra's demeanor began to change. She became more relaxed, laughing softly at Alex's jokes and sharing stories about her life before the raiders came. Alex felt a strong connection growing between them, something he hadn't expected. Eventually, they reached a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. The water cascaded down, creating a beautiful mist. "This is my secret place," Lyra said, her eyes shining. "It is where I keep the treasures of my people." Alex stepped inside, and his breath caught in his throat. The cave was filled with shimmering crystals and ancient artifacts. They sparkled like diamonds in the soft light. "This is incredible," he exclaimed, looking around in awe. Lyra smiled proudly. "These items tell the story of my people. They remind me of the beauty we once had." She picked up a crystal that glowed softly in her hands. "This is a memory crystal. It holds the memories of my family." "Can I see it?" Alex asked, intrigued. Lyra nodded and handed him the crystal. As he held it, he felt a warm sensation. Images flashed in his mind. Joyful celebrations, laughter, and love. "It's beautiful," he said, handing it back. "I can feel the happiness in it." Lyra looked at him, her expression softening. "Thank you for understanding." She hesitated before speaking again. "You are different from the others I have met. You do not wish to harm me." "No," Alex replied firmly. "I want to help. I know I'm just one person, but I won't leave you alone. We can work together." A smile broke across Lyra's face. It lit up the cave, and Alex felt his heart skip a beat. "Together," she repeated softly. "I like that idea." As they stood together in the glowing cave, Alex felt a strong bond forming between them. In the middle of a desert, with danger lurking outside, he had found a friend. A connection that felt like magic. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their adventure together. They were two souls from different worlds, but their journey was about to unite them in ways they could never have imagined. Building trust. As the sun rose over the oasis, its warm light filled the cave. Alex and Lyra sat together, their hearts full of hope. After sharing stories and laughter, they felt a bond growing stronger. Alex realized that he was no longer just a lost human. He had found a friend in this alien princess. "Today, I want to show you my favorite places in the oasis," Lyra said with a bright smile. "There is so much beauty here that you must see." "I'd love that," Alex replied, his excitement bubbling over. He felt eager to learn more about Lyra's world and the wonders of this desert oasis. They left the cave, and Lyra led Alex through the lush greenery. The oasis was alive with colors. Bright flowers swayed in the gentle breeze, and small creatures scurried about, adding to the magic of the place. Lyra pointed out various plants, explaining their uses and meanings. "This is a moon blossom," she said, showing him a flower that glowed softly. "It helps heal wounds. It is precious to my people." "That's incredible," Alex said, admiring the flower. He had never known plants could have such powers. "You have a rich culture here." Lyra's eyes sparkled with pride. "Yes, but it is also fragile. My people respected nature. We lived in harmony." She looked away, sadness creeping into her voice. "Now, I fear I am the last of my kind." Alex felt a pang in his chest. "You're not alone anymore," he said, trying to comfort her. "I'm here. We can build something new together." Lyra smiled faintly, but her eyes still held pain. "It is hard to trust again. I have been alone for so long." "I understand," Alex replied gently. "It takes time to build trust. Let's take it slow." He reached out, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. They continued their journey through the oasis, stopping at a small pond filled with crystal-clear water. "This is where I come to think," Lyra said. "It is peaceful here." Alex knelt beside the pond, watching the ripples dance across the surface. "It is beautiful," he agreed. "I can see why you love it." As they sat together, Lyra began to relax. She shared more stories about her life before the raiders. "We had festivals where everyone danced and sang. It was a time of joy." "I wish I could have seen that," Alex said, captivated by her words. "It sounds magical." Lyra smiled, a warmth spreading through her. "Maybe we can create our own magic here, you and I." Alex nodded eagerly. "Let's make this oasis a place of happiness again." He felt inspired and hopeful. As the day went on, They worked together to clean up the area around the pond. They picked up trash and arranged stones to create a sitting area. They laughed and joked as they worked, enjoying each other's company. Lyra was surprised by how easy it was to work with Alex. His spirit was strong, and he was kind. "You have a good heart, Alex," she said, glancing at him with admiration. "Thanks, Lyra. I think you're amazing," he replied, feeling his cheeks warm. He realized he was starting to develop feelings for her. She was brave, intelligent, and beautiful. Later, they took a break, sitting by the pond and watching the sunset. The sky turned shades of orange, pink, and purple. It was breathtaking. "This is my favorite time of day," Lyra said softly. "It reminds me that beauty still exists." "It really is stunning," Alex said, mesmerized. He turned to her, feeling a deep connection. "You have shown me so much in such a short time. I feel lucky to be here with you." Lyra looked at him, her gaze serious. "I want to trust you, Alex. You are different from the others. You do not seek to harm. I promise I will always protect you," he said sincerely. "Together, we can face anything." As they spoke, a sudden sound broke the peaceful moment. A loud rumble echoed through the oasis. Alex's heart raced as he jumped to his feet. What was that? Lyra's expression changed from calm to worried. "I don't know. It came from the mountains." "We should check it out," Alex suggested. "It might be dangerous." Lyra nodded, determination flashing in her eyes. "Let's go. We must see what is happening." They hurried towards the mountains, Alex feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He had never faced danger before, but with Lyra by his side, he felt stronger. As they approached the base of the mountains, they saw smoke rising in the distance. The rumbling grew louder, and Alex's heart sank. "It sounds like an explosion," he said. "We need to be careful." Lyra agreed, her expression serious. "We must protect the oasis. If raiders are coming, we cannot let them destroy it." They moved closer, hidden behind rocks as they surveyed the area. Suddenly, they spotted a group of armed figures climbing the mountainside. Alex's stomach twisted. "It's them. The raiders." Lyra's eyes narrowed, her voice fierce. "We must stop them. They will not take my home." Alex nodded, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "We'll face them together." In that moment, their trust grew even stronger. They were no longer just two individuals. They were partners ready to fight for their future. The desert threat. Alex and Lyra crouched behind a large rock, their hearts racing as they watched the raiders move closer. The sun was high in the sky, casting long shadows across the desert landscape. The sound of their boots crunching on the sand echoed ominously. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "There are too many of them," Alex whispered, glancing at Lyra. "We need a plan." Lyra nodded, her eyes narrowed with determination. "We cannot let them reach the oasis. We must protect it at all costs." Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their situation. "We should create a distraction," he suggested. "If we can draw them away from the oasis, it will give us time to prepare." Lyra considered this, her brow furrowing in thought. "What do you have in mind?" "I can set a small fire in that dry brush over there," he said, pointing to a patch of parched grass a little distance away. "When they go to investigate, we can ambush them." Lyra's eyes brightened. "That could work. Let's do it." With a quick nod, Alex moved stealthily towards the dry brush, his heart pounding in his chest. He gathered some twigs and leaves, arranging them carefully. Lyra watched him closely, ready to warn him if the raiders got too close. Once he had a small pile, Alex pulled out a lighter from his backpack. He struck the flint and watched as flames flickered to life. The fire caught quickly, crackling and popping as it grew. "Now," he shouted, turning back to Lyra. She rushed over to him, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. "Let's go." They dashed behind a boulder, hiding from view as the fire blazed. Smoke rose into the sky, and within moments, the raiders noticed it. They began shouting to each other, their voices filled with confusion. "What is that?" One of them called out. "We should check it out." "Leave a few behind to guard the path," another shouted. Alex and Lyra exchanged quick glances, realizing their plan was working. The raiders moved towards the fire, leaving only a handful behind to watch the path. "Now's our chance," Lyra said, her voice steady. "We must take out those who remain." Alex nodded, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "We can do this together." They crept closer to the remaining raiders, who were focused on the smoke rising in the distance. Alex could see that they were armed with weapons and looked dangerous. He felt a mix of fear and determination. Lyra suddenly raised her hand, signaling for Alex to stop. "Wait," she whispered. "I can distract them." "How?" Alex asked, unsure if it was a good idea. "I will use my powers," she replied confidently. "They will not see me coming." Alex was intrigued. He had heard Lyra mention her abilities before, but had not seen them in action. "Okay, I trust you," he said, stepping back to give her space. Lyra took a deep breath and closed her eyes. The air around her shimmered, and suddenly, she was surrounded by a soft, glowing light. Alex watched in awe as she seemed to blend into the desert environment. "Now," she said, her voice echoing as if coming from all directions. The raiders turned, startled by the strange sound. "What is that?" one of them shouted, looking around in confusion. Taking advantage of their distraction, Alex charged forward. He tackled the closest raider, knocking him to the ground before he could react. The raider's weapon clattered away, and Alex quickly grabbed it. "Lyra, now!" he yelled, as he turned to see the other raiders still looking for the source of the noise. Lyra emerged from the glowing light, her expression fierce. She used her powers to create a blinding flash that illuminated the area, stunning the raiders. "Get them!" Alex shouted, feeling the surge of confidence. Together, they fought against the raiders. Alex swung the weapon he had taken, while Lyra used her abilities to control the environment around them. She sent waves of energy that knocked the raiders off balance, making it easier for Alex to take them down. The remaining raiders quickly realized they were outmatched. They turned to flee, shouting in panic. "We need to retreat. They're too strong." Alex and Lyra exchanged triumphant smiles. "We did it," Alex exclaimed, catching his breath. "But we need to be cautious," Lyra said, her voice serious. "There may be more raiders nearby." Just as she spoke, a loud noise erupted from the mountains. A group of raiders appeared over the ridge, and Alex's heart sank. "We need to move now." They quickly retreated, moving back towards the safety of the oasis. Alex glanced back, seeing the raiders close behind them. "They're coming. Keep running," Lyra urged, her eyes filled with determination. They dashed through the oasis, weaving between trees and plants. The sound of shouting and footsteps grew louder behind them, and Alex felt a surge of panic. "We can't let them reach the heart of the oasis," Lyra cried. "We must protect it." As they reached the pool, Alex had an idea. "What if we use the water against them?" Lyra nodded, understanding his plan. "We can create a barrier, together." They quickly gathered their strength. Alex focused on the water, willing it to rise and form a wall between them and the raiders. Lyra added her energy, and together they created a shimmering barrier of water. The raiders charged towards them, but when they reached the barrier, it surged upward, sending a wave crashing down. They stumbled back in shock. "Now's our chance," Alex shouted. Lyra led the way, and they made their escape deeper into the oasis, their hearts racing but united in their determination to protect their home. As they ran, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The desert threat loomed large, but he and Lyra were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. The growing connection. After escaping the raiders, Alex and Lyra found themselves in a secluded part of the oasis. The trees were thick here, and the sound of water flowing created a soothing atmosphere. As they caught their breath, the tension from the previous encounter began to fade. "That was too close," Alex said, running a hand through his hair. "I can't believe we faced them together." Lyra nodded, her eyes sparkling with relief. "You were brave, Alex. I felt safe with you." He smiled at her words, feeling warmth spread in his chest. "I couldn't have done it without you. Your powers are amazing." Lyra blushed slightly, a shy smile appearing on her face. "Thank you. I have always trained to protect my people, but I never thought I would use my abilities like this." Alex turned serious for a moment. "We need to be ready for more attacks. The raiders won't give up easily." "I know," Lyra said, her expression turning resolute. "But together, we can make a stand. We will protect this oasis." As they sat together, the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. The beauty of the moment made Alex forget their troubles for a while. "This place is magical," he said, gazing at the colors reflecting off the water. Lyra smiled, looking at the sky as well. "It is. This is my favorite time of day. It reminds me of hope." Alex turned to her, sensing a deeper connection growing between them. "Lyra, I feel like we understand each other. Even though we come from different worlds, we're fighting for the same thing." "Yes," she agreed, her voice soft. "You make me feel less alone. I've been waiting for someone to understand me." As the last rays of sun disappeared, Lyra leaned closer to Alex. He could feel her warmth, and his heart raced. "What do you think will happen next?" she asked, her gaze searching his. "I don't know," Alex admitted. "But I believe in us. We can face whatever comes our way." Lyra smiled, her confidence shining through. "Together, we can build a future. We just need to believe in each other." Their eyes locked, and Alex felt a surge of emotions. In that moment, everything else faded away. They were no longer just allies. They were partners bound by a shared purpose and growing feelings. "I want to learn more about you," Alex said, breaking the silence. "Tell me about your life before the raiders." Lyra took a deep breath, her expression thoughtful. "Before everything changed, I lived in a beautiful city. It was filled with art and music. My people celebrated life every day." "That sounds wonderful," Alex said, picturing the vibrant city she described. "What did you love most?" "I loved the festivals," she said, her eyes shining. "Everyone came together to dance and share stories. It was a time of joy." Alex could see the pain behind her smile. "What happened during the raider attacks?" Lyra's expression darkened. "They came unexpectedly. My people were caught off guard. I lost so many loved ones that day." Her voice trembled slightly. "I was taken away, but I escaped." "I'm so sorry," Alex said gently, reaching out to touch her hand. "You're so strong to have survived." Lyra looked down at their joined hands, feeling a mix of emotions. "I didn't feel strong then. I felt alone and scared." "You're not alone now," Alex reassured her, squeezing her hand gently. "You have me. We will make this oasis our home again." Lyra looked up, her eyes reflecting gratitude. "You make me believe in hope again, Alex." As night fell, they decided to set up a camp near the pond. The stars began to twinkle above, filling the sky with light. Alex gathered some branches for a small fire, while Lyra collected stones to create a circle around it. Once the fire was lit, they sat close together, enjoying the warmth. The crackling flames danced between them, creating a cozy atmosphere. "Let's talk about our dreams," Alex suggested, wanting to know more about her. "What do you wish for?" Lyra thought for a moment. "I dream of rebuilding my people's legacy. I want to create a safe place for everyone again." "That's a beautiful dream," Alex said, inspired by her passion. "I want to help you achieve it. We can gather others to join us." Lyra smiled brightly. Yes, we can create a community, a family. Their conversation flowed easily as they shared more of their hopes and fears. Alex talked about his life on Earth, the challenges he faced, and how he ended up in this strange place. I never thought I would find someone like you in a foreign land, he admitted. But now, I feel like I belong. Lyra's heart swelled at his words. You are a part of this oasis now, Alex. You are family to me. As they gazed into the fire, the connection between them deepened. Lyra leaned closer, resting her head on Alex's shoulder. He felt a rush of warmth and comfort, wanting to protect her from all harm. The night grew quiet, filled only with the sounds of the crackling fire and the gentle rustle of leaves. They shared stories and laughter, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. Tomorrow, we will train together, Lyra said, her voice filled with determination. We must be ready for whatever comes next. Alex nodded, feeling excitement building within him. I'm ready. We will be strong together. As they sat side by side, surrounded by the magic of the oasis, Alex realized that he had found something precious, a connection that could withstand any threat. He knew they were on a journey not just to protect their home, but to create a future together, one filled with hope and love. The final showdown. The sun rose over the oasis, casting golden light across the water. Alex and Lyra stood at the edge of the pond, ready for the battle ahead. They had trained hard for this moment, preparing for the raiders who threatened their home. We can do this, Alex said, feeling the heat of the morning sun on his skin. We've grown stronger together. Lyra nodded, her expression fierce. We will protect this oasis and our future. They gathered their supplies and weapons, determined to stand their ground. Alex had fashioned a makeshift weapon from materials around the oasis, while Lyra had her powers ready to defend them. As they walked through the oasis, Alex felt a mix of fear and excitement. Do you think the raiders will come today? He asked, glancing at Lyra. They will, she replied, her voice steady. They won't give up until they take what they want. Then we will be ready for them, Alex said, determination rising within him. Suddenly, they heard loud voices in the distance. The sound of boots crunching on the sand echoed through the oasis. They're here, Lyra exclaimed, her eyes widening in alarm. Let's find a good spot to defend, Alex said, leading the way. They quickly moved behind a large rock formation, where they could see the raiders approaching. The raiders were a rough-looking group, armed with weapons and full of anger. Their leader, a tall man with a scar across his face, pointed toward the oasis. We take it now, he shouted, rallying his group. Alex's heart raced. He glanced at Lyra, who nodded, signaling that she was ready. Let's show them what we can do, she said, her voice full of resolve. As the raiders moved closer, Alex and Lyra prepared themselves. On my count, he whispered, gripping his weapon tightly. 1, 2, 3. They sprang into action. Alex charged forward, swinging his weapon at the nearest raider. The man stumbled back, surprised by the sudden attack. Lyra followed closely behind, using her powers to create a barrier of energy around them. Stay back, she yelled, sending a shockwave towards the raiders. The energy hit them hard, pushing a few of them off their feet. The raiders, caught off guard, scrambled to regain their footing. Attack them, the leader shouted, anger fueling his voice. Alex fought with all his strength, dodging blows and striking back. He could see Lyra moving gracefully, her powers glowing brightly as she directed waves of energy at their enemies. We need to split them up, Alex called out, trying to strategize amidst the chaos. Follow my lead, Lyra replied, her eyes focused on the approaching raiders. She created an illusion of herself, confusing the raiders as they tried to find her true location. While they were distracted, Alex charged into the fray, taking down another raider with a swift kick. Let's push them back, he shouted, feeling a surge of adrenaline. They worked in sync, Lyra using her powers to create distractions while Alex fought fiercely. Each time a raider fell, Alex felt a sense of victory growing within him. They were holding their ground. But then, the leader of the raiders charged at Alex, his weapon raised. "You think you can protect this place?" he growled, anger twisting his features. Alex's heart raced as he faced the man. "You won't take it from us," he shouted, gripping his weapon tightly. The two clashed, the sound of metal ringing through the air. Alex dodged the leader's blows, feeling the heat of battle around him. He knew he had to stay strong for Lyra and the oasis. Meanwhile, Lyra noticed that more raiders were regrouping. "We need to finish this quickly," she called out to Alex. "I'm on it," he replied, focusing all his energy on the fight. With a burst of determination, Alex pushed back against the leader, knocking his weapon aside. He swung with all his might, landing a blow that sent the leader staggering. Lyra saw the opening and used her powers to send a wave of energy crashing into the leader, sending him flying. "Now, Alex," she shouted. With one final strike, Alex disarmed the leader, sending his weapon clattering to the ground. The man fell to his knees, fear etched across his face. "No, please," he begged, looking up at Alex. "Leave this place and never return," Alex warned, breathing heavily. The remaining raiders, seeing their leader defeated, began to retreat. "We'll come back for this," one shouted, but they turned and ran, fear driving them away. As the dust settled, Alex and Lyra stood together, panting from exhaustion. "We did it," Alex exclaimed, disbelief and relief washing over him. Lyra smiled brightly, her eyes sparkling. "We protected the oasis, together." They embraced, feeling the weight of their victory. "I couldn't have done it without you," Alex said, holding her tightly. Lyra pulled back, her expression serious but proud. "We are stronger together, Alex. This is just the beginning of our journey." As they looked around the oasis, they realized it was not just a battle won, but a symbol of their connection and strength. They had faced the threat head-on and emerged victorious. "Let's rebuild and make this place thrive again," Alex suggested, feeling a sense of purpose. "Yes," Lyra agreed. "We will create a safe home for everyone, together." As they stood side by side, watching the sun set over the oasis, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by hope and a growing bond that could withstand anything. A new beginning. The sun rose brightly over the oasis, casting a warm glow on the sparkling water. Alex and Lyra stood together, feeling the calm after the storm of the previous day. They had faced the raiders and emerged victorious, but now a new journey awaited them. "I can't believe we did it," Alex said, a smile spreading across his face. "We really protected this place." Lyra looked around the oasis, her heart swelling with hope. "Yes, we did. But now we must rebuild. This place needs us." They walked together, discussing their plans. "First, we should gather supplies and check on the other survivors," Lyra suggested. "I want to make sure everyone is safe." "Good idea," Alex agreed. "We can build a shelter and start forming a community here." As they moved through the oasis, they noticed the beauty around them. The trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the sound of birds filled the air. It was a peaceful place, and Alex felt a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. Soon, they reached a small group of survivors who had hidden during the attack. Relief washed over them as they recognized Alex and Lyra. "You did it. You drove the raiders away," one of them exclaimed, eyes wide with admiration. "We're safe now," Lyra assured them, her voice filled with warmth. "We can work together to rebuild our home." The survivors nodded, hope returning to their faces. They gathered around Alex and Lyra, eager to help. "Let's start with the shelter," Alex said, feeling energized. "We can use the materials from the oasis." The group quickly got to work, gathering branches and leaves. Lyra used her powers to create a protective barrier around the area, ensuring they would be safe from any future threats. As they built the shelter, Alex felt a sense of purpose. He worked side by side with the survivors, sharing ideas and laughter. They were all united by a common goal: to create a safe haven in the oasis. After hours of hard work, they stepped back to admire their creation. The shelter stood sturdy and welcoming, a symbol of their new beginning. "This is just the first step," Lyra said, her eyes shining with excitement. "We can grow this community and make it thrive." Alex nodded, feeling the energy of their plans. "Let's make this a place where everyone can feel at home." As the sun began to set, they gathered around a fire, sharing stories of their past and dreams for the future. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and camaraderie, and for the first time since their arrival, Alex felt completely at peace. "Tomorrow, we should explore beyond the oasis," he suggested. "We might find more survivors who need our help." "I agree," Lyra said, her expression thoughtful. "We can also gather more resources and see what else this land has to offer." The group excitedly discussed their plans, and Alex felt a sense of belonging. He was no longer just a lone traveler. He was part of something greater. As night fell, the stars twinkled above them like tiny lanterns in the sky. Lyra looked up, her expression dreamy. "I used to watch the stars with my family during the festivals. It always made me feel connected to something bigger." Alex glanced at her, intrigued. What were those festivals like? "They were filled with joy, music, and dance," she replied, a nostalgic smile on her face. "We celebrated life and the bond we shared as a community." "Let's have our own festival here," Alex suggested, excitement bubbling within him. "We can celebrate our new beginning and the people who fought to protect this place." Lyra's eyes lit up. "That's a wonderful idea. We can invite everyone to join in and share their stories." The group cheered, enthusiasm filling the air. They began to plan the festival, discussing decorations, food, and games. It would be a time to honor their journey and the strength they had found in each other. As the fire crackled and the stars shone brightly, Alex felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had come to this strange world alone, but now he had found friendship, love, and a purpose. Lyra leaned closer, resting her head on his shoulder. "I never imagined I would find someone like you in this desert," she said softly. "Me neither," Alex replied, his heart swelling with affection. "You've changed my life, Lyra. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared." The warmth of her presence filled him with joy. They sat together, surrounded by the laughter and warmth of their new community, knowing that this was just the beginning of their journey. As dawn approached, they made plans for the future. "We will build a safe home here, one where everyone belongs," Lyra said, determination shining in her eyes. "Yes," Alex agreed, feeling the strength of their bond. "Together, we can face anything." With the promise of a new day ahead, they closed their eyes, ready to dream of the future they would create together. In the heart of the desert, amidst the beauty of the oasis, Alex and Lyra knew they had found something special. A place to call home, a community to cherish, and a love that would grow stronger with each passing day.